Uh, I don't know if I did I break it? I don't think I did. Okay, I think we're here. Okay, we're here. Yay! Hello, everybody. Hello. Okay. I had my black cat right here, and usually my black cat has like slitted eyes, but then for a second, like the pupils got really big, and I was like, "What the heck?" I have never seen that happen before, so that was interesting. I don't know how that happened, and I don't know how to recreate it, but that happened. Anyways, France. What's going on, France? What is happening, France? Why is it that I'm hearing why am I hearing such strange things happening in France? So, first of all, I heard about the Olympics thing going on in France where they were trying to clean out the river. Oh god, I forgot the name of the river. There was like a very large river that runs through France, very popular. But controversy about it is that it's very polluted to the point where it's toxic. Like people cannot swim in it. And they said they were going to clean it for the Olympics, but they never did. So that happens. And then a French director came out and he said, "Hey, I'm going to make a movie about you know, trans rights." Okay, it's a movie about trans rights. Only for it to find out that it's a Mexican cartel leader who wants to transition and threatens a lawyer to find him a doctor who would help him transition, and that somehow makes him into a her and then makes her into a better person because she transitioned. And even though she transitioned, she still has like demons where she like hurts women, but she's trans. So when she died, oh, sorry, spoilers. When she died in the end, she's looked at to as like a saint, a martyr, even though she was a Mexican cartel drug dealer who offed a lot of people during their reign. And only to find out later on, and this is a musical, by the way, somehow they freaking made this a musical, and then only to find out that it's called Emilia Perez. And so okay, okay, sorry, it's just so bad. I don't know how they got to even make this movie. So only to find out that the French director didn't even research Mexican culture, even though it's about a Mexican cartel drug dealer. He didn't do the research. Oh wait, Saib. God darn it, this keeps happening. Hold on, Saib. I don't think. Damn it.
Have I been muted this whole time?
Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Uh,
Okay. Hello, everybody. I am here. She hasn't been talking to nobody,
sorry.
and
Dang it.
by, that cat is amazing. And
Thank you.
did you know, or was it part of the plan that it would also speak when you were speaking?
Yes. The cat likes to mimic me sometimes. Just don't think about it. Don't think
Okay,
about it. Don't,
okay.
don't think about it. Anyways,
So so
so
um
so only to
so
find
you're
out.
you're you're telling me about this movie, and the first thing that enters my mind as as you start describing it, I'm like, how much you want to bet that the person who made the movie or wrote the movie has no understanding of Mexican culture at all, and they're just appropriating it,
Yeah.
they're just taking it and going, oh, this is mine now. I made this. This is mine. I made this, because that's what shallow people hypocritical, shallow people do is they take advantage of something else that somebody's done, and then they claim ownership of it.
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant.
And he also said, it was also documented that he said that Spanish is a lower form of language. I don't think that's exactly what he said. I think it said it was a third world country language. He said
I,
basically Spanish was for the peasants, not in
yeah,
so many words.
I don't know if you know this, but certain people who speak um, the language that starts with F and ends with ench. Um, I don't know if you know this, but they tend to be very full of themselves and arrogant. I
Oh
mean, I'm
yeah,
not saying this. I'm not trying to like blanket statement everybody. Obviously, that's not true. But when it comes to like filmmakers, when it comes to like politicians, when it comes to other people like that, again, those are like reason like unreasonably high categories, right? Like you if you go to an award ceremony for a bunch of actors, writers, and directors, turns out that they're not typically like the nicest people in the world or the most caring. They sure love to like pretend that they are, but yeah, but it's a little bit of a percentage higher in that part of the world for some reason. I don't know why, and
yeah,
they most certainly look down. I know a lot of Spanish people and who live in Spain, not the other continent. And they say that the French still treat them like garbage, and it's
good
like,
lord.
gee, yeah. And I mean, and again, I've heard it. I've heard it. I was speaking with a person who speaks French from the other continent now, going over to the other continent, and talking about the river thing made me realize. So a couple months ago, like I'm talking with this guy, and he's like going on and on about how like how some of the other people from Canada are filthy pigs and disgusting individuals and blah 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 blah, and how
Ew.
he's like how his part of the country is like so much nicer and cleaner and all this stuff. And
Right.
while he's talking, he's just chucking garbage into the river.
Oh my god.
like
Oh
like
my
instead of like
god.
instead of like putting it in a garbage can or like cleaning up after himself, he's just throwing it in the river, talking about how disgusting we are. And it's just like I'm just like, yeah, yeah. Again, not everybody, but just happen. I run into that a lot, like an unreasonable large amount. And I'm sorry if you're like lumped in with that thing, and I know that's not true. I know that there's it's not everybody, but it is an un it I'm exposed to so many people like that, and it's really kind of sad because it's like, right, well, spend the next like 20 minutes trying to fish garbage out of the river. But yeah, some people are just born hypocrites, and I don't know why. And it seems that every generation or every couple of generations, they seem to be all from like one predominant place in the world, and it moves. It like rotates like fairly frequently. But yeah, it usually happens. There's always one in every generation. There's always one like group of people that are overly hypocritical, and sometimes those people are Karens. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're
Speak.
not talking about video games. What does this have to do with video games?
Oh, no, we're on the money with the reason why I brought up the whole French controversy is because Ubisoft has finally released Assassin's Creed Shadows. Ubisoft is a French-owned company. That's why I was like, "Oh gosh, France. What is going on, France?" Be-
Mm.
it seems like they're following the trend of cultural appropriation. Uh
But I thought that they like had consulted all these experts in Japan and and got them to like show them how to do it right, like just exactly how to appropriate their culture. Did they not do it correctly? Am I confused? Did they not do it correctly? Oh no, heavens
no,
me,
they just Google searched Asian cultures and they just threw it all into Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Docker.
Ooh, wow. And what
No,
really bothers the
it's
Japanese,
so shocking that I'm so surprised. My God.
what's really annoying, or at least to the Japanese, what was really annoying was that they seem to blend a lot of Asian cultures that obviously are not Japanese. Like the architecture was Chinese. There was some also some was it Taiwanese structures in there. Oh yeah, did you guys hear about the promotional material? The promotional material. Do we want, like, we can stay here talking hours about the promotional material itself. They were selling a figurine where one of the characters was sitting on top of a half destroyed torii gate, only to find out that a half destroyed torii gate is a monument to the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and one of the only surviving structures of that incident. And if you don't know this, Japan really is. This might shock you. They have very strong, respect for their culture. This might shock you because it seems like other countries don't seem to have as strong of a respect for their own culture as, but Japan really, really respects their culture. They respect their history. They respect their ancestors. They respect, people who died in the bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Those types of things are very, very I don't know what's a good word to describe it. They're very important. Respect Japan. Thank you. Yeah, they're very important moments in history for Japan. And then you have Ubisoft, who thought that they can make a quick buck making a faux Japanese game where you can play as a samurai and a shinobi. There's so much wrong with this game. I wish I could. Do you know what's funny? No one is talking about the story. That's what I noticed. Everyone was talking about the gameplay. Everyone was talking about all the horrendous stuff in the game, but they didn't talk about the story. So I could not tell you at all because I'm not, to be perfectly honest, I'm not going to play the game. I don't want to waste my money on that. It's not even authentically Japanese, so why would I waste my money on that? I would definitely.
So hold on, because so I watched the intro. I watched Asmongold start the game up, and it was showing how it's like through your genetics we can discover histories and stories being told about your ancestors. And then fast forward a little bit, and you're watching two guys go at it, and I'm just like, where's the genetic leap? Like,
Wait,
how does
who
that
who
work?
wait, where's the genetic coming from? Is it coming from
Is it
Yasuke, or is it coming from Naue? I thought it was an Naue. Or is it saying like we don't know? Like what?
well that like I found it weird that the only way that you actually get the genetic line to continue on from the story perspective is if like if the only way you get that the story to come through from the perspective of those two people is because there's only so there are like four romances in it, and only one of those romances it would result in children, and that's if you're lucky, because the way that they have it set up is that the only like relationship that copulates is by having the guy and Nobu's wife, which is like I mean, that's
What?
so
That's the
disrespectful.
that's the only way you can
That's the only
possibly.
that's the only straight relationship that happens. Now, I mean, there are other things that could have happened. Maybe they,
Wait,
maybe
you can't
the
romance the other female character as Yasuke, or is that just for Naoe?
so as far as I'm aware, not Yasuke can only romance either Nobu's wife, who is currently married. So it's like
Oh,
it's cheating, and she's being like super disrespectful to her marriage, and that's not what history talks about. Or talks about her how she was like,
so
even after like afterwards when she got married again, she was very respectful and was loved by everybody and was really honorable and all this kind of stuff. Um,
I'm
but the other
real quick,
two
real
are
quick.
guys.
Toby, when you said no, his sister, out of context, I for a second I was like, you can romance Yasuke's sister. I was like, what?
Oh,
sorry,
sorry, it was
sorry.
sorry, it was sister, not sorry, yeah, I messed that up. Yeah, no, his sister. Sorry. I thought I yeah, I looked at it earlier this morning and was like, this is really uncomfortable. Like genuinely because the only other way that happens is if like okay, so for like her perspective, right, the female protagonist's perspective, it's clear that she's only into girls. So again, how does she pass on her genetics so that you can do the genetic like backtrack thingy if does that mean that there was some terrible thing that happened there? Is like are we saying that that's what happened there?
I
I'm
mean, there's
I'm
been a lot of
genuinely concerned
history.
and kind of grossed out by, the way that they kind of handle that stuff because it just leaves a lot of stuff unsaid and in a really not like healthy way.
I mean, there's been a lot of was it? There's been, I don't think it's speculation. There has been records of people who like the same sex, but they had to hide it and they ended up marrying the opposite sex in order to continue like their was it family line, but in actuality they were like gay. So it's not unheard of that she probably at some point maybe ended up marrying another person from another clan, or she married some dude in order to do the duty of, creating a new bloodline, or creating or continuing on her bloodline. And before you guys, I
Hmm.
for some reason I feel like people are going to attack me for that, just for saying that, but that was what it was back then. They like having children was like important back then. Like it was like important to have children to continue the bloodline. That was very important. For some reason I feel like people are going to attack me for that, but I needed to emphasize history was a lot different. Like back in the old days things were different. uh oh, just found this channel. Hi Lear Gamma, welcome in. Hello.
Hello, Lear. It's Polly's. You don't understand. Splinter Cell is for like, guys, like, manly guys. Manly guys don't play video games anymore. It's only, people who are wanting to play, all these other experiences and
Yeah,
stuff like
like
that.
chicks who like
It's
yaoi.
nothing. Yeah, like there's no other category like just like face it, the 100 million, straight guys, just they don't exist anymore. They just vanished. They're not here anymore. So
For
that's
those of
why
you,
video games
those
are
of you
now
who,
for other people.
yeah, for those of you who are new, we're just joking. Literally, I am a
Yeah.
female gamer who loves yaoi. It was a joke. It was a joke. I was just joking.
But no, seriously, it's this whole thing, like again, how do you screw this up? Like just genuinely, how do you screw this up? It's like you have to intentionally want to screw it up to have screwed up everything to this point. Not just with this game,
We haven't
like
even gotten into the game
with
yet.
Splinter Cell, with all of the other games that Ubisoft makes. It's like how have they bombed so hard and still they don't get it. They still don't get it.
Oh, do
You
we
know
want
what
to
would
go
have
into
you know what would have
numbers?
made this game? You know what would have made this game absolutely fantastic
I don't
is
know what
if
could have made it
you
better.
could have. I know this would be super shocking, but be prepared. If you had the ability to create your own character. I mean, I know it's a crazy concept, like being able to create a character in the Assassin's Creed universe and then like play through the character that you play as. I know that's just such a crazy concept, but guys, I mean, I don't think, I think it's just impossible.
Okay, okay. I feel like we're getting. I mean, it is true that I don't mind that was it the Assassin's Creed universe. In
Hmm.
each game it has its own protagonist that you get to learn along the way. I don't mind that because there's some characters people like more than others. Obviously, Ezio Auditore, I think that's his name. I don't know.
Hmm.
Auditore.
Hmm.
He's obviously fan favorite. Everybody loves him. Then you also have the guy from Black Flags. He's like a second favorite. But I don't mind that. People have their favorites, but that's old Ubisoft. We're talking about new Ubisoft. We're talking about Ubisoft that is getting away from the stealth genre and is embracing quote
It's
unquote
like this. It's
RPG
this.
mechanics, quote
Yeah,
unquote,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
questionable because it's like, as a person who loves RPG, I don't know if I would actually say these are RPG mechanics. It feels like they're just shoving different types of content into the game just to keep you around and to like keep you interested. At this point, it
Yeah.
feels like
And
they're just adding
and and
stuff.
and again, my primary criticism of this is that this company, they didn't actually hire real, like, actual genuine like Japanese historians from Japan.
Nope.
They hired people who were outside of or are viewed as like having an un how do you how do I want to say this? Um the one lady that they brought in, like,
Uh
very few people from Japan actually agree with her. Like, very few academics like agree with her. Her stuff is not checked by or agreed upon by other Japanese historians. Her stuff is entirely, excuse me, is entirely like focused on and announced by people outside of Japan who
Wait, are you talking about that
usually
one
have some
dude?
form. No, no, it's the woman.
Okay.
um she she has most a lot of her backing comes from China sources.
What?
And yeah, so this was really early on. She was the one who was like really into like the whole like young boy love and stuff like
Oh,
that, like
yeah.
between like
And
very
that's not,
old men
wait, so
and
that's not
very
even
very
in
young
Japanese
boys.
culture? Is that in Japanese culture or is that in Chinese culture?
No, 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 that's I mean, it's all over like history. Like that, it happened a lot.
Oh, it
Like
was a practice. Okay.
Phoenicians, you go back to the Phoenicians, you go back to Greece, you go back to Rome. It's always been a thing,
Dude, have
right?
you
So it's
heard
like,
of have oh fudge. Oh, I learned about
but
this
but
in Greece, but they had a thing where like young boys would be taught by older men,
paired
but
up,
then
yeah, yeah.
I forgot what it was called. It had a word similar to PDF files, but it was like something it's called something else. But it got to the point where was it parents noticed things were happening and so they assigned guards to protect the young boys against it's not patricide. It's something I forgot what it's called. It starts with a P, but that's I learned about that. I was like, what the heck? Like it was crazy. Anyways, getting off topic again. Gosh, I keep. Anyways, Toby said, to be fair, Shadows is the first one in the series who the main character is a real person. That in itself also got a backlash for it because everyone got so used to having new like new character like I can't say new characters. Was it fictional characters? Fictional. Everyone got used to fictional characters being the main character so that it's being involved in the history but not actually being involved because
Hmm.
time forgets names, so it's like this person could have existed in this time but we just don't know because it's kind of a fictional setting with the animus and stuff, and like so it's like there's leeway for like some fiction to be in there, but they're old Ubisoft, I have to remind you guys and myself, but old Ubisoft actually cared about immersing you into the historical setting. They actually used to care about that. They say they still care about that. Obviously, they don't, because of the horrible mismanagement of Japanese culture, the horrible mismanagement of the marketing for their game. Goodness gracious. It's gotten to the
Hmm.
point where Japan is looking into and investigating if Assassin's Creed Shadows is like a discrimination. Like what is this game? Like it's not Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of
Yeah.
Tsushima
Yeah.
was praised out the butt for being so faithful to Japanese culture and historically accurate to a certain degree because you play kind of. I don't think the character you play in Ghost of Tsushima is a real historical person. I think he's a fictional person, but you go on this journey through ancient Japan, and you experience all this culture and history, and it respects the culture, it respects the characters, it respects the people that you meet, and it was so well done. The freaking developers were granted was it ambassadorship for Japan of Japan. Like they were granted being. Do you know what kind of honor that is? Is that you did so well, like portraying a foreign country, that you get ambassadorship? Like that's insane. That's so good. That's so good. That's such high praise, dude. That just goes to show how good Ghost of Tsushima is. And then you have Ubisoft who wants to jump on the bandwagon, jump on the popularity, and they're like, "We'll make our own game based in China. I mean Japan." And look how that came out. So we have a lot of controversies before the game even comes out. Before the game even comes out, we are piled with controversies. People have
Oh, and
pointed out.
you can run in, and the new ones, the ones that the politicians are up in arms about, is the fact that you can run into one of the most sacred shrines in Japan, and you can destroy the
Shrine.
like the shrine itself. You can like smash it all to pieces, and yeah, that's not they're not
Look,
too happy with
look,
that.
I know Western culture doesn't look fondly upon religion, but other cultures don't have the same viewpoints. So when you come into another culture and start destroying their religious sites, there's gonna be an issue. There's gonna be a problem. And the fact is that they didn't even ask for permission for most of this stuff that's in the game. They didn't ask for permission to use any of this stuff. They didn't ask to use permission to use the symbol for the emperor's house. You do realize that the royal family is still alive today. The Japanese royal family is still alive. They didn't ask. They didn't ask to use certain noble houses insignias, which are still alive today. They didn't ask for permission to use. They literally did Google searches because they put a freaking reenactment flag, a group of people who reenact Edo period battles. They have their own special reenactment flag. Freaking the flag is in AC Shadows, or at least it was in promotional like footage of the game. The flag was literally stolen from an IRL historical reenactment group. Oh my god. And then they're like, And then pillage you can pillage grave sites to collect the emperor's armor. You
Yeah, you steal the emperor's armor from from the emperor's from a obviously past emperor's tomb, and then with the emperor's armor you can then ride around on a Chinese dragon.
they
I
have
mean,
DLC.
the
Ugh.
it's just the it's again it's like we could talk all day about every mistake that they've made. They from everything from the armor, the blatant like disrespect to culture, religion, and practices, and history, landmarks, all that kind of stuff, to the outright and complete total desecration of like minor things like the way that the door hinges work, the way that
The tatami mats.
there's
The
there's
tatami mats.
references to like how like the way that they've done it. Again, this would take me like hours to explain, but the way that they've prepared and done some of this stuff, um, it's basically it's like what the developers have done is they've laid in on a whole bunch of different settings and scenarios and situations that really say that Japan actually belongs to China. And this has been done again in this really subtle way. There's a whole bunch of things. It's not an easy thing. I'm not going to go into it deeply, but there's a lot of people pointing out that the way that they're doing some of this stuff really does make it look and feel as if they're kind of leaning out to say, "Oh, just hey, just China owns Japan. They have some kind of like historical right to it."
This is a theory. It's allegedly a theory. Sorry, I have to cover our butts. We have to.
So
Oh,
it's
speaking of covering our butts, do you know what happened right before, the day before, or a couple days before Assassin's Creed Shadows released? They, sorry about this, Saib. I don't know if you know about this because this is happening in Canada, but
Mhm.
they made a task force in
Oh yeah.
Canada to prepare for
Yeah, he
harassment
does.
online against
And
Assassin's Creed Shadows.
yeah. So so that's just
So they're going to take
again,
legal
it's like
action against criticism, and then they're
yeah,
going to label
if
it
you're
as
being
harassment.
overly critical or if your criticism is bordering on, aggressive towards the people involved, again, they're really pushing this stuff quite hard. And to me, the madness of the whole situation is like, do you guys realize? Like, do you not realize what you're doing here? Like this you're setting yourself up to fail in so many ways that it's kind of scary.
I would love to see
Like
someone make a video like actually keeping a track of all the different controversies for just for
it would
AC
be a
Shadows.
10-hour video because
I
again
would
it's like
love that.
it would take me an hour to go through how this whole like China owns Japan thing is going on. But again, you just ask yourself, wait, who's making this? Oh, Ubisoft, who's owned by Tencent, who's based out of oh crap, they're based out of China, aren't they? Oh,
I was gonna say some of
they're
this is
really
so.
China's been really aggressive with trying to take over. Oh dear, this is not good. Oh, this is not good. So yeah, the problems like again, and I'm sort of done talking about AC Shadows because it's like
Oh, I'm not done. There,
again,
I found new info
you
that I want to
have
talk about.
to you have to be intentionally like you have to do this with intent. To mess up this badly, you have to be like it's like even a broken clock, is right twice a day. You have to be intentionally like so off the mark that you're just simply not capable of creating anything that has any kind of like worth to it because I mean they have really gone too far. Like they have really gone too far with this stuff and it's really disturbing.
So spoilers for the final boss fight, but apparently when Yasuke is involved in the unaliving of the boss, there's a song that plays that is a mix of Japanese and Swahili song, and it's like a hip hop, obviously, because we can't play a black man without playing hip hop music, of course.
Yeah, the
And
hip hop music has been there for a while.
and uh and but they kept it in. Like, even with the backlash of them using hip hop in the promotional materials with a black character in Edo, Japan. God damn it, I'm still getting frustrated. Anyways, in Edo, Japan, they just can't help themselves because it's a black man, and because it's a black man, they have to put freaking hip hop music in it. Even with that was in a trailer, and you would think with that backlash they would change it in the boss battle. No, they kept it in. So there you go, guys. They care so much about that stuff. Anyways, in Swahili, literally the lyrics was it like, we shall slaughter them all, in Swahili, while you're playing as a black man unaliving a Japanese man. And then that's not even getting into the illusion of choice in this game. So you have two choices. You have a good choice and you have a bad choice. Spoilers, you have a good choice and you have a bad choice. If you purposely pick the bad choice, one of your character friends will say, no, you're wrong. That's not the good choice. We're doing the good choice. And then forces you to do the good choice. So it's not like that mattered in the first place. Yay! I cannot stand the whole vague implementation of RPG mechanics. I can't stand it. Like, it's really fun. It's as someone who enjoys RPGs, I hate the illusion of choice. It's very frustrating to me. If the character is asking questions and you have certain ways to respond, I don't really care about that. I don't really care about that. I just hate it that it gives you quote unquote choices, but it's literally just the same choice, just in different ways. And I freaking hate that, because it's like, then what's the point of even putting the effort into making all these choices if it's just one choice, but in different colors? That doesn't make sense. But yeah.
Yeah.
But let's get into the numbers. We can't just talk about the game and how much it sucks. We need to actually go logistics. We need actual numbers. So, what was the peak numbers? The game released. What was the peak numbers when it released? 60,500 was the peak. Day one. Peak day one.
Not a lot. It was not a lot. Not for what they need.
But Ubisoft said that they sold 2 million copies. They said they sell 2 million copies, guys. But their peak players was 6,000. That was the peak. That was the peak, guys, of day one. And since then, it's gone down to 30,000. But do you know what's funny? What I found funny was that people are like, "Oh, just wait for it to release. It just released, guys. Wait for one more day. Give it another couple days. Give it a week, because people are waiting for sales." And it's like, okay, so it's like, when is it gonna get better? When it's on sale? You think it's going to get better when it's on sale at a discount? You think they're going to make it, guys? You think Ubisoft's going to make it when they're in the financial hole? Do you think that they're going to make it when they put their newly released game on a discount? Do you think that they can be saved? Do you think AC Shadows is going to save Ubisoft? I don't think so. And I told this to I told this to someone in my Discord, but Ubisoft has been bleeding money for years now. And when I say money, I don't mean chump change. This all adds up to billions of dollars over the last 5 years. They have been
And
losing money.
so, in the rumors that I've heard, and I've heard some pretty interesting rumors. The rumors that I've heard have suggested that Ubisoft took a whole bunch of like high interest, very like demandy loans in order to get this shipped.
Oh,
Because
sorry,
again,
Retro.
they didn't really know what was going on. So yeah.
Retro, sorry, I just noticed your chat. Someone, Retro said nobody had issues with the prior Assassin's Creed games that took liberties with history. Now it's a big issue. It's
Because
it's
because
not.
they didn't really use
Look,
historical figures in the past.
okay, this is okay. To be fair, let's be fair to Ubisoft. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. When they announced Assassin's Creed Shadows, I was excited. I saw that they had Yasuke as a character you can play. I was like, "Oh god, here we go. Freaking virtue signaling." But then I actually saw some of his moves. He looked like a fun character to play. I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and in that game you can have like a was it a heavy build where you can just a heavy warrior build where you can like swing around axes and stuff like that, and it was so fun to play in Odyssey. So when I saw Yasuke was like a big bruiser who just like bodied everybody, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be fun." And then it came out that they didn't even respect the culture enough to do enough research on the country. Do you not understand how bad that is? They didn't. They basically did the bare minimum of the history aspect. That's nice. But then they're also, as Lear said, they kind of blatantly rewrote history with Yasuke because it was a point of contention even in Japan. It's like they were intentionally going for something that would cause controversy, because even in Japan it was very highly debated if Yasuke even was a samurai. Like, I have my own theories, but I'm not Japanese, so I don't think my opinion matters much in this discussion. But like, Yasuke was a retainer to Nobunaga, Oda Nobunaga. That's as far as I know. That's as far as anyone knows. Literally, his footnote in history is only 2 sentences. Like, no one really knows, like, well, I can't say 2 sentences, at least a paragraph. All we know is that he was a vassal of Oda Nobunaga, and he was it. He got sold back into slavery after Oda died, and then no one heard from him again. And that's what happened. It's like, in between, he wasn't really mentioned all that much, except that he was with Oda Nobunaga occasionally. And there was even references that he wasn't even in a battle. Like, he wasn't even involved in battles. The only time he ever was in a battle was when God, now I'm even questioning things because I don't even know if it's true. Because they kept changing history so much to appease was it the Yasuke shadow game. Like, I don't even know if it's true, but apparently Yasuke protected Oda from an assassination. I don't know if that's true, but it could be true. What I'm saying is I was open to them doing this, but they couldn't even respect the culture, dude. They couldn't even respect the country that they were basing this off of. Like, you I actually really love Japan. I had never been to Japan, but I love learning the history of Japan. I love learning the mythology. I love learning about the culture. Maybe one day I'd like to go there, but I really do adore Japan because it's a very nice country. It is very nice. I mean, it's not perfect. No country is perfect, but I do, have a healthy respect for Japan as a country and as a culture. So when you have a game based in that culture, you would at least hope that they would have good enough faith to at least get the freaking weather right and the seasons right when they grow crops at the, like, they can't even do that, dude. In the game, crops are grown at a season because they didn't even do the research of like how agriculture works in Japan. And then they got the tatami mats, the flooring in Japanese house structures wrong, the design wrong, because they didn't have the time to research how tatami mats are placed on a floor. Yeah. And then they have freaking sliding doors that don't slide the right way because they didn't take the time to look it up. These are very tiny details that are important when you're making a game in Japan. You're making it seem like we're making a big issue out of nothing. But this is not nothing. They can't get basic stuff right. That's the problem. They can't get basic shit right. And then you're expecting me, when they can't even get small details right, how can I expect them to get bigger details right? How can I trust them to get anything right when you are messing this up? They even got the underwear wrong. They got the Japanese Edo period underwear wrong. How do you do this? How can you do this? This is not nothing. This is not nothing. They're purposely messing with the culture. And these are just some examples. These aren't even, I'm not even Japanese. There could be a lot of things going on in the game that
like I said, it would take me hours to go through all of the problems with this game. It's everything from some of the outfits, some of the costumes, to some of the way that the characters move around, to the frickin' voice dialogue on some of the characters. And these are just, again, those are small things. There's a lot of bigger things, like how you can ride around on, so the exact cultural implications of being able to ride around in the Japanese emperor armor whilst riding on a Chinese dragon. Like, there is a lot of cultural significance with that thing that a lot of people go, I don't know anything about that, so I'm just not going to comment on any of it because I'm stupid and I don't know cultural things. Which is fair, because not everybody has to be an expert. But when you're saying that, and you're the person in charge of making sure that the culture is respected inside the program that you're creating, that's a completely different thing. It goes from, that's totally, that's not your job. Like, you don't have to do that. That's ridiculous. Like, obviously you don't have to worry about that, because that's not who, your job is. Your job isn't to worry about that. You're a consumer. You're just supposed to enjoy this kind of stuff. But then to have this, but then to be the creator of the game, the developer, and just doing all of the same stuff. It's like, right. So somebody's messed up really, really, really big here. And and people are genuinely upset. There's a lot of people who are really upset. I don't think this game is going to be selling well at all in Japan, at all, in the slightest.
What really frustrates me is that people are going to play this game and they're just going to take everything at face value. And they're like, oh, wow, this happens in Japan? And it's like, that's what bothers me about this. Like, it's so historically inaccurate that it's to the point of, like, I don't know how to properly say it. It, like, misconstrues how the culture was back in Japan. Like, it's so bad, dude. It's to the point where I'm like, how is this not discrimination? Like, how is this not racism? You know, how is it not
because
racism?
because
How is it not?
people who are extremely racist and believe that they have the control to say what is and isn't tend to be actually really 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 racist. Again, it's like I do not understand how this isn't being called out by just everybody
Because, like,
going,
isn't the most
okay,
harmful stereotypes, isn't the most
Mr.
harmful stereotypes are just assumptions? Like, you assume these things happen, and that's the,
Usually, yeah, to some degree.
because, like, was it, like, a lot of misconception happens when, like, was it, people assume things. Was it, one of the stereotypes is that, like, Eskimos, the Eskimo kiss is, like, when they rub their noses together and stuff, because if you, like, actually kissed each other, your lips would freeze. That's not true. That wasn't true. It was only someone who saw them rubbing noses. They thought, oh, that's how they kiss it, show affection. And that was obviously like a white guy who was following, like, documenting Eskimos. And did you know Eskimo igloos aren't even true either? Like, that wasn't actually a thing. It's just a guy said it, and so people assume
No,
that's what it was.
no,
It's like,
no. Igloos are definitely a thing. There's some like, yes, igloos are a thing. Have they been like misconstrued in popular media? Yes, they have. But yeah, no, igloos definitely a thing.
never mind.
Like,
Igloos are a thing. I was getting a little too
yes.
excited on that. But
So
what I'm saying,
somebody who lives in the Arctic, coming from my own personal experience, yes, igloos are definitely a thing.
I'm just saying,
And
it's just from one person's misunderstanding of how a culture works can cause
mhm,
a lot
mhm.
of issues later on, because people are going to assume, oh, this is it, did you know this? And then it just spreads like wildfire as fact when it's not even true. And that's the problem when you have situations like this, when you have games that appropriate culture and doesn't even show the culture properly, not like it's almost, it's just disrespectful, like, at this point, because it's ridiculous how far it's gotten. It's ridiculous. The architecture isn't even Japanese. The Japanese buildings aren't Japanese. Who did this? What do you mean? The Japanese buildings in Edo, Japan are not Japanese. How does that happen? Like, this is terrible, guys. We're not making something out of nothing. This is an issue. And you're saying that this is
It's
historically accurate.
it's supreme arrogance. Like, that's all I can say is it's a supreme level of arrogance, saying, "Hey, we're the developers at this prestigious studio run by a bunch of corrupt and people who've been caught doing many 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 terrible things and have been sued for it." Um, you know, like, we know what's going on. You're just the plebs. You don't know what's actually going on. You don't actually know what's happening here. We know better than you do. That's what's going on.
That's
That's
why,
what's being said.
yeah, Lear said because normies, sorry, think that it is just a game or that it's not important when most cultural change is being pushed in mediums that are popular. Used to be books and TV, now it's video games. And you're so right that Japan is looking to see if this is going to cause cultural uh, tensions between, I don't know, Western developers in Japan or France in Japan. I don't know who exactly they're looking for reparations for this, but it's causing international tension, dude. Like, like, you don't understand how bad this is. Like, people are like, it's just a game. It's just a game. You're taking a country's history and doing whatever you want to it. It's not even satirical. That's also the problem. It's not even for like laughs, gaffs, haha. It's not even for hee hee ha ha's. You're doing this in a serious manner. You're serious. This is serious, guys. We need to take this seriously. And you get the culture so freaking wrong. Like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, well, they take it serious. This is crazy, guys. This is crazy. It's insanity. Toby said, I still love how people say the hate on AC Shadows is racism from Japan, but Japan loved Ghost of Tsushima, and another good example is Last Samurai. Dude, I got so many, I got so many, sorry, I just noticed Jonathan Harkin says comments. I was like, what? Anyways, like, there were so many people who said that The Last Samurai was just like, was it a white savior? But other people, it's been a while since I've seen The Last Samurai. I'm pretty sure I watched it when I was like 9, but I can't remember what happened in it. But other people said it wasn't even about like white savior complex. It was just that, was it about Tom Cruise learning about the way of the samurai, and then he didn't even, like, there was like this big battle, but I don't think he was even involved in it. But I don't know, like, it wasn't even a white savior story. It was just a guy who was learning the culture and, you know, made friends along the way and stuff like that. Like, that's all it was. And people were saying that it was like, you know, cultural appropriation, shit like that. But that wasn't even it. But like, it's, we haven't even gotten, we're talking so much about the culture appropriation and stuff. We haven't even gotten into the game itself. So let's actually talk about the story and the gameplay and the microtransactions. Yes, this is a shocker to you guys, but yes, it does have a microtransaction store, because they announced that it was going to have a store linked to the other previous Assassin's Creed games, but they couldn't help themselves and added a monetization system when the game released. Are we surprised? Of course not, because they've had microtransaction stores ever since Odyssey, I think. I don't know. I haven't played the other games. Like, well, was it Unity? I haven't played Unity. I haven't played Brotherhood, so I don't think those had microtransactions in it. I know Brotherhood was more of a co-op game.
Arrogance of having a store, microtransaction store in a single player game. It's just like, why? Like, why? Like,
oh yeah, he witnessed The Last Samurai. Thank you, Toby. Like, he wasn't The Last Samurai, he witnessed it. Sorry. At this point, I'm gonna be happy when Ubisoft goes under. Freaking same. There is no way, and I keep saying this, but I feel like no one believes me. There is no way Ubisoft can recover from this. Shadows was not their savior, but they were looking at it like it is. And to be fair, if Shadows does well, if it actually sells well, it's still not going to save Ubisoft, because they have leaked so much money that they are literally dying. They're dying. They cannot survive. And the problem is that they do not understand why they are losing. They don't understand. We tell them why they're losing, and they're like, no, you're wrong. And they still do the wrong things that we're telling them not to do. That's the one thing I cannot stand about this, is that they're just digging their heels in. They're saying, no, you're wrong. You guys don't understand how business works. And it's like, we do know enough to tell you that you're not gonna make it. And they're like, no, that's not true. And then they have to sell their freaking company. Maybe that was the whole point. Maybe they were planning this the whole time. Maybe they were planning to sink the ship just to sell the parts to the highest bidder, because they knew how valuable the IPs were. Maybe that was their whole diabolical plan, because there is no way as a business you can think this is a good idea. Because I've heard with the Warner Brothers Suicide Squad, they purposely like did backroom deals and stuff to like make their game more lucrative. Hello? Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, someone's knocking on my door. Hold on.
Oh,
sorry.
I thought you were asking me. No. I'm like, yeah, no, this is all correct. The insanity of the whole thing, and again, it's like I really can't wait to be done talking about Assassin's Creed, because it has been like 8 months of just like obviously this is headed in the worst possible direction, almost worst possible direction. The game is, as far as what I'm seeing from most everybody who I trust who's played it, the game's like a 5 or a 6. Like, it's not the worst thing ever to be made, but there's a lot of holes in it. From combat to like the stealth mechanics to the way that some of the a lot of the combat seems underdone. Um, we're just not dealing with a team that can actually make games anymore. Like, not make games that are like high level anymore. And there's no desire for them to do that either. You know, they're not they so I did some reach outs, and somebody on the team honestly believed that once the game came out, that the Japanese prime minister or even the emperor himself would send them a letter telling them how amazing they were. And it's just like the hubris, the self important hubris from that. What is wrong with you? How do you get to that point where you're like, oh yeah, no, this, we made this thing that has totally made up, has a completely and totally made up like storyline to it that has absolutely no founding in reality, despite the fact that there's so much that you could cover. There's so much that you could cover from a really smart perspective. Really dive deep into it, communicate with the developers, the people from the area, send like get the developers to get out there and communicate with them to get an understanding of what you were trying to achieve, and then to bring people online that was like hands down nobody could debate whether or not that person knew what they were talking about. And there's a lot of historians that are like that, where it's like, hey, here's a historian, here's their background, here's all this stuff. Instead, who did they go to? They went to a guy, a white guy, who created Wikipedia articles, quoting the articles that he wrote
I'm
about
back.
and posted online, and then used that connection to say, oh, look, the articles are correct because Wikipedia says that they're correct, and the Wikipedia is correct because it says the article, because the articles are correct. Never realizing that, hey, this is the same dude this whole time. He's literally taking them for a ride, and he's introducing something that was, you know, quite possibly one of the worst decisions they could possibly do in a game market where if you had just given the players the ability to make their own character, and then to introduce, like, you know, maybe it was like, you know, uh again, it's like you could do this so easily. You say, oh yeah, there's this ship, you know, and it had a whole bunch of different people from all over the world on it. It's from Dutch, it's from the Deutschland, not Deutschland, from the Netherlands. It's from the Netherlands, right? Because they're the only ones who were able to like really trade with them for a long period of time. And, you know, or maybe it's a pirate ship that's got a whole bunch of different, you know, slaves and whatnot on it, and the boat crashes, and then you do something that endears you to either the, you know, to maybe a samurai clan or a ninja clan, or maybe you get to pick from both, or like there's just so much that you could have done for having people to create their own character, create their own stories, and you kind of fit it in, and then you just kind of make sure that it's complete fiction, right? Like it's fiction. Of course, it's fiction. You embrace that. You say, yeah, no, this is just a fantasy. It's, you know, it's this. It's not. We're not trying to be historical. And then you just pay respects to what you have to pay respects to in the culture. Could have done that, or you could have messed everything up that you possibly tried to do, and then continue to mess it up even more.
I mean, I don't see how it can get any worse. I don't see. I mean, let's look at the silver lining. I don't see how it can get any worse from here. Like, I mean, there's potentially being sued by shareholders. Um, the fact that they could lose their company and they have to sell their assets. I mean, I don't see how it could get any worse. I mean, at least the Gilmonts would have Ubisoft in name only. Isn't that great? Isn't that what they wanted? Isn't that what you wanted? Is to have it at least in name only? Was it worth it? Was it worth Was it worth it? Maybe they're being petty. Maybe they're like, let's sink this freaking company because we have no leverage in keeping it. So they like purposely tank its reputation. Like, because I don't see how they can do this without some type of nefarious purpose, dude. Like, I feel like they're doing some, they're like, if we can't have it, nobody can. And so they're like purposely tanking it. God. But let's be fair. Let's be fair. Let's be fair, guys. We need to be fair. We need to be balanced. I was gonna say like we need to be like, let's just give it a chance. Okay, let's go. What are the good things about AC Shadows? We can't just say all the bad stuff because there's a lot of bad stuff, but we can say some good things. Um, you can build your own village and you can collect a lot of cats. You can put a lot of cats, as many cats as you want, in your desolate village. You can do that. Don't worry, you can recruit people into your village so it's not as desolate. But they
Hold
put
on,
a
hold on,
they
hold
put
on,
a
hold
lot
on.
of like stone gardens
They,
in there, so it's like kind of desolate looking.
you you can have they put in the settlement system from 76.
Oh, graphics? Wait, what? Wait, what?
The settlement system.
Yeah, they put in a settlement system so you can make your own settlement and you can like design it and build
The
your buildings and stuff.
only
Cause
thing they were able to do is steal something from
yeah,
Bethesda, which is, I mean, obviously, which is on the absolute cusp of brilliant
you're
game design.
you're right, Lear.
I'm just,
Graphics.
yeah,
It's a beautiful game. They focus so much on the graphics. It's gorgeous. Um, the parkour. I heard the parkour was really fun. Like they actually did some cool new moves with that. You can pet cats in the game. Uh, Noway's story. I heard her story is actually pretty makes sense, pretty compelling. I heard that. Um I also heard that Yasuke's storyline feels kind of shoved in there. It doesn't really make a lot of sense cohesively. So that just makes me think they kind of added Yasuke last minute as a main character.
probably, yeah. I would say that's most likely.
What else? What else? The game's really broken. Oh wait, I don't think that's a positive feature. You can't get through most of the game as Yasuke because he's such a heavy character who wears like heavy armor that you have to play as Nawe in order to get anything done. Um, the microtransaction store, they literally make everything so purposely tedious in the game that like the only way to get anything cool or to bypass all the annoying side quests, you can just buy it with your real world money to bypass all the side quests and stuff. You can pay actual money to open up the world map instead of just being meticulously going through the world slowly, one by one, by
So
yourself.
I was watching the map, somebody like open up the map, and I could feel that the map unlocking was slower and more tedious than it was in previous games.
Oh no, I mean I wasn't sorry Lear. I don't know if the graphics and resolution frame rate are any good. I was asking if it's a positive aspect. It is actually a positive aspect. I know I'm being very sarcastic right now, but I heard like everyone has been praising how gorgeous the game looks. So it is actually very beautiful in the game. That's probably the only good thing about the game as far as I can tell. Sorry, what were you saying, Saib? I was reading what he was saying, or they're saying.
The the exploring of the world map to me, it looked extremely tedious and very boring,
Yep.
and that it seemed like that was intentional to make you buy the map pack.
For those of you who are unaware with how microtransactions work, if they are implemented in any way into the game, it is going to affect gameplay because they want you to buy the products in the store. So they're going to purposely hinder the gameplay in order to force you to spend money on the microtransactions just to get through it.
You create a problem to be the solution to the problem.
You would create a problem
And
to sell you the solution.
mhm.
Whichever.
And I remember when I was reading an Alfred Hitchcock book when I was young, and the plot line was basically it's like, oh, the windows are getting smashed, right? Like all these windows of cars are getting smashed in, and they don't know who's doing it. They don't know who's causing it, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And shocker, it was a new guy who was taking over his dad's window replacement company and wanted to prove that he could, like, do a good job. So he would ride around in the early morning with a BB gun, and he would shoot out the windows of cars randomly so that they could up the sales, and how many, like, how much business they were doing. um and that's essentially what game developers took that as a blueprint and said, oh, we can sell more games this way. And it's again, it's really horrifying when you think about it, like genuinely horrifying when you think about it like that, because it's like that this is such a problem. Like, this is going to cause so many problems down the line. And yeah, we're going to see it. I mean, this is going to be a long term problem, massive long term problem for sure, 100%.
Well, you know what they say about pretty games. Just because a pile of shit is covered in glitter still makes it shit. So there you go. Take it how it resonates, as they say. Trying to remember if there was anything else. Oh, yeah, they did say that it was 200 players in the game. Like, they said it was like 2 million. Sorry. They said it was like 2
Yeah.
million players.
I'm trying to figure out what you were
In
meaning
order,
by 200.
they said 2 million. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
They said 2 million players were in the game, but if you look at, I mean, to be fair, Steam isn't really reliable for most numbers because there's also Xbox and PlayStation. But if you go to, someone did say if you go to Steam, it'll give you a general idea of how many people are playing on Steam is probably going to be kind of a good estimation about what numbers you're gonna see for other platforms. The highest number of players on Steam is 60,000 players. 60, not even 100,000. It's 60,000 on Steam. So I think it'd probably be even like a slightly smaller percentage on other platforms. And that's like not a lot of people. I mean, maybe it'd be like 200,000, but I wouldn't think it'd be 2 million. Like, 2 million players. And I also did the math because, like, I was being generous. Let's get the calculator out. Calculator. All right. So I heard that they need 7 million in order to break even for a $250 million game.
Closer to 10. Like, in order
how
to
does that
actually
make sense?
A profit,
How does that make sense?
Like 10 million.
It costs 250 million to make. How is it 10 million in order to break even?
They need 10 million sales. So if they're selling each one for like, $90, and Steam takes, 20
Okay.
to 30% of that.
Okay, so let's be. I don't want to be too generous here. Let's go to Steam. Let's see what Steam says about what. Let's go for basic, because they said the pre-orders were 300,000. I don't trust anything that anyone says because they have been switching around the numbers and inflating numbers, and they're like, "Oh, we did so well," when they didn't actually sell that much. So I don't trust anyone when anyone says. They said that they pre-ordered 300,000. I don't know if that's true. Assassin's Creed chat. Okay, let's just do the base. Let's just do the base price, which is just $70. Let's see. 70. Well, let's add a little couple of dollars there. 72. Let's do 72 times. You said 2 million.
They need 10 million to break even, is what I was told. Because you got to remember that the cost to make the game, but then there's also the cost of advertising the game, and the cost to make the game. When you hear it's like, oh yeah, the project 250 million to make, that does not involve any of the sales, nor does it involve the paychecks of any of the C-suite team. So the C-suite team still needs to get paid, and most of them get paid like you could easily. I would be shocked if the Ubisoft C-suite didn't cost Ubisoft like another like 50 million on top of that.
Now,
So like definitely, yeah.
Now, I did the calculations and I was being a little generous with the 72, but for 2 million, they would have made back, if it's true that they sold 2 million copies, they would have made back 144 million. Which is, I don't think is exactly almost half of what they spent on making that game. Which is fair enough. It did, if we're going by those numbers, it did relatively well. If the numbers are true, it did relatively well. I don't think it's going to save the company. Like I said earlier, like even if the game does do well, it's not going to be enough to save Ubisoft. This company is still tanking, dude. It's still tanking. It's still tanking, and the reputation is not favorable amongst your customers. People have no idea how word of mouth and how companies treat their customers is important. If you're rude to your customers, you're not going to sell them anything. But they keep going on this crusade of telling gamers that they're wrong, that they have poor taste, they don't know what real games are, when it's like, yes, we do. We play real games that are actually fun and that have actually cool stories, because we have games from like 10 years ago that are really fun to play. God, I'm so old. Oh God, I'm old. Like, God, I can't believe how, we have such a huge history of video games out there, and like how much video games as a whole is like a staple in our culture now. And companies have the gall to say that we don't know what good games are. And that's what they're like. I'm literally thinking that companies abuse their customers, because that is such a abuse tactic to gaslight your victims into like, I didn't hit you. I didn't do that. I didn't treat you cruelly. I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that. It's like, yes, you did, because we have the receipts. The internet is forever, I'm trying not to curse, but the internet is forever, all right? The internet's forever. We all know that you said this. They're like, no, we never said that. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, these types of companies, like, they piss me off so much. I cannot stand them. They're just so in their own bubble. It's frustrating. But going back to the numbers, I also did the calculations of like the 60,000 on Steam, and it came out to 4 million. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of getting there, isn't it? So let's go like 4 Let's go 4 million, 4.3 million times. What other platforms do they have? I have like 3 let's just do 3. That's like 12 million.
Yeah. So I I I I really do believe that this has been a scam from the beginning, like from the get-go. I really do honestly believe that the basically the heads of the company conspired to essentially sink the stock worth, take it down, break up, their fan bases, destroy their products in an effort to drop the price on their stock to something that they could buy for like pennies on the pennies on the pennies on the pennies essentially, because they were losing control and they've had to fight off hostile takeovers before. They've had to try and do like solve some of that problem. There was definitely a lot of companies who were trying to take advantage of them, and that's not. I mean, that's sad in and of itself. Like that's kind of like, oh well, that kind of sucks, right? Like you don't want to see a family-owned business destroyed. Like you genuinely don't. But at the same time, you're pointing at this and you're going, this is madness. Like we're dealing with some like just outright like insane level tactics that are going to end up destroying the company. So what do you do about that? I don't know. I don't know what you do about that. Like I really genuinely don't know what to tell people about like, well, what can they do and what should they do to try and like, you know, do they cut their support for this company? Do they, what do they try to do? What do they try to
I mean,
how do they try to survive this?
I've heard one of the plans that they have is that they're planning on at least splitting the company, where like one aspect of the company focuses on one thing and one aspect of the company focuses on like holding the IPs or working on
Hmm.
IPs. Like
Again,
not gonna lie,
we're
I tried to
we're
pay attention to how they were explaining it, but literally it was using a lot of was it
yeah,
technical
it's a lot
jargon
of
that
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't really
lots
get
of
it. But
technical jargon. Yeah.
I understand that they're trying to split the company in order to salvage what remains of it, which
Hmm.
I can understand. And plus, they're still in talks with re- ac- acquisitions. Is that the right word? They're still in talk with acquisitions, and they're still in talks with Tencent because I heard Tencent was trying to buy more of Ubisoft, or maybe they're trying to sell more of Ubisoft to Tencent. I don't know, but they're trying to salvage the situation. As far as I know, when it comes to acquisitions, they're being very hush hush about it. This part I do know because I was paying attention, but they can't outright say what their plans are when it comes to negotiating IPs and stuff and what to do with the company, because apparently a similar company did that. It started with an E. I forgot what it's called. There was a similar incident that happened where someone was very one company was gaming company was very transparent with what they were planning to do, and because they were transparent it caused a lot of like questions about insider trading and stuff like that. So the deal fell through. So Ubisoft is just covering their butts by not being very transparent about what they're doing, and honestly that's fair. That's honestly fair. It's it's just at this point it's like you're just kicking a dead horse. Just stop releasing games at this point. I don't know what to tell you. Like at this, you just might as well just stop, because you're just making things worse. You're making things worse for yourself. You're making things worse for the IPs. You're making things worse when it comes to at least trying to gain some type of acquisition. Like you're like it's just I don't see how it can get any worse. I can't see. Oh God, I just thought of something worse. I was
No,
like, what if?
it can always get worse. I mean, I've been
I was
this
like,
whole time. I'm like,
what if Ubisoft's like sold to EA? And I was like, no.
they won't sell to EA. They'll sell to Tencent. Tencent wants to leave China very, very badly. They don't want to be in China anymore.
Hmm. I mean, is that even a good thing? I don't know. Is Tencent even like a reliable company? I wouldn't.
It's a gaming company. I don't think any company made like run by or like majority share run through China is good because the Chinese government has its fingers in everything, and when you have a bureaucratic autocracy or worse tyranny controlling things, everything it touches turns to like it's like the Midas touch. Instead of everything turning to gold, it turns to like a garbage dumpster on fire in the middle of a gas park. So yeah, it's just genuinely it's just not a very good thing to have happen at all in the slightest.
Yeah, I don't see how the future does not look bright. The future does not look bright. Lear said, "My opinion, what they should do is accept the consequences of their actions, and if they ever get back into making games, actually make something worthwhile." And that just reminds me of the articles upon articles upon articles the moment that Shadows was released, of them just saying, "Oh wow, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a return to form for Assassin's Creed Shadows, Assassin's Creed Shadow return to form for Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a return to form." They all
Yeah,
said that.
that press is we called out the gaming press ages ago before most other people did.
I mean, I
And
feel like
I was
some
like, "Hey,
outlets.
this is not good." And we saw we had a young reporter who jumped in with us a couple of times, and like she left the industry like freaking years and years and years and years ago because she saw the writing on the wall. She was like, "Wow, this is not good. This is really really bad." And she jumped ship out of that mess because she could see where it was going. And yeah, it like this has always been there. Like this has always been at the back of these companies' minds. They want total control, but they don't understand that that's not how you win. That's not how you make that's not how you make anything good. Like you just can't you my suggestion always is like, look, you have to open up. You have to accept that things are not always going to go your way, and you have to roll with the punches. You can't just sit back and go, I don't care. I want everybody to bow down and worship me. It's like that is not going to do well. That is so not going to do well. You are going to hit the wall at a very, very, very high speed. Excuse me. More water.
Ay, Dios mío. But I also heard that like toxic positivity is also an issue in the AAA gaming sphere.
Oh, it
So
is.
that
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise
it's a big
me if that's
issue.
also an issue.
Yeah,
But
major issue.
yeah, I think yeah. I think we're just gonna run around in circles when it comes to Ubisoft, but at this point we can just only wait and see how far the fires burn. Cause I don't see anything getting better from this, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe, fingers crossed, maybe they might actually get competent leadership, or they might sell it to a competent gaming company, the IPs. Maybe. We can only hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. But yeah, this is gonna be a problem for a while now. Especially as people discover more and more going on in Assassin's Creed Shadows. But on a slightly lighter note, Silent Hill F. Uh, it just released. There's a new Silent Hill coming out, and it released its trailer. It looks really freaking good. It's like going back. It's a return to form for Silent Hill. They're going back to their Japanese horror roots, and it looks really creepy. And I'm really excited for the game. And apparently, Silent Hill F is officially banned in Australia by ratings authority. And you know a game is good.
That's not new. I mean, it's
You
yeah, that's
you can tell a game's
exactly.
good when
Yeah,
it starts getting banned
games
in countries.
yeah, if Australia bans the game, it goes, better check the game out. Probably is going to be good, because they have the fun police there, right? So anytime you're having fun or doing something that's cool, some police show up and say, "Hey, hi mate, you're not supposed to be doing that." Sorry, that's British, Australian. Barbie. Um, no, I can't do it. I'm too tired. But yeah, no, that's what they do.
But apparently, Silent Hill F just got banned in Australia ahead of its release, as Australia's classification board has given the title an RC classification. I don't know what RC is, but maybe it'll explain. Uh, was it ahead of its global release, which is unnamed, which is an unnamed date? Yeah, it was kind of like it's been announced. They have kind of title from Neobards, published by Konami. Only recently received a haunting trailer, which can be viewed below. Yep. Australian authorities, which is similar to America's entertainment software ratings, have classified the upcoming Silent Hill F as RC, or refused classification, meaning the game is now banned for sale within Australia. The ACB doesn't specifically state what content within the title violated its rating criteria, but according to the ACB's website, any media that receives an RC classification contains materials that is, quote, outside generally accepted community standards and exceeds what can be included in the R18 plus and X18 plus ratings. What does that mean? Oh my god. Like, what does that mean? What is in the game that requires that type of classification? Contains material that is outside generally accepted community standards and exceeds what can be included?
So
Oh, what is
probably
in there? Now I'm curious.
probably
Morbidly.
the main character looks like she's probably like bordering on the age of like 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that there's probably some like some shower scenes, or quite possibly some gruesome death scenes. And
Yeah.
that normally makes them lose their mind. That's usually how that works.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, sorry. I was like, maybe I should show you guys what I'm looking at. Uh, if I can figure out, wait, what? There you go. Okay. Let me move out of the way. But yeah, so what has caused Australian authorities to ban Konami's upcoming title? The summary on the ACB describes aspects of Silent Hill F as containing depictions of players' character getting impaled in the neck or getting their faces ripped. What? A character burned alive inside a cage? Oh my god. Spoilers? A woman branded? Interesting. It's displayed on serving platters in a a character's. Oh my god. So
Yeah,
basically
yeah. There's some
regular Konami Silent Hill
yeah.
Resident Evil
It's like
stuff. Okay.
it's a horror story, right? So there's genuine like and this is the thing. I laughed about it when that whole Subverse game came out. I was talking with the developers on this channel, by the way, in an interview, and I was like, so with like the way that censorship is handled, like basically you could have like a demonic force invade, the last bastion of humanity, and the devils are like, we're going to destroy you, we're going to kill you all, and then somebody would be like, oh, and I bet you're gonna like chop our heads off and put our heads on platters and eat them, and the devil would go, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you? That is just, we are going to kill you, and we're going to kill you in a humane, normal, completely non, you know,
Non-offensive way.
non-offensive or any kind of sexual way possible. Like, that's absolutely unacceptable. you're going to go to the gallows, and you're going to go to the gallows completely like, civilized. What do you think we are, demons? It's like, and that's the joke, right? Because they're freaking demons. So yeah, that's just, again, that's just,
It, I mean,
that's the way that over ambitious busybodies decide to control things. It's not about like, hey, educate the parents so they know what their kids are playing. It's not about like, hey, this is a scary topic. We're dealing with some pretty heavy things here. You may not necessarily be like into this. If you're feeling like any kind of like, compulsion, or like, worries or anything, like if you're having any kinds of issues or something like that, like, get help. Like, here's a place that you can discuss those issues. Yeah, yeah, stuff like
but
that.
someone commented and said it's really not that hard to figure out why they banned the game. Girl is what some may call quote unquote flat. I'm referring to body type. And Australia has extreme phobia versus such things as they think it promotes, well,
Hmm.
you can
Hmm.
imagine what. I mean, fair. I think that's fair. Uh, I mean, I don't know. It's just a horror game to me, so it's like, I don't know, like, it's not the worst. It's not the worst game I've ever played. Like, I feel like I've seen worse, or, yeah, played worse. But that's just me, I guess.
Yeah. So
Uh
I think that, yeah, that's what's going on there, and it's kind of stupid.
oh, thanks
It's
for
kind of
the
stupid.
yeah.
It's
Okay,
going to
bye.
backfire on your cult. It's going to backfire on your culture at some point. That's just the way that it goes.
Yeah. Bye, Lear. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate
Yes.
every single one of you. Uh but yeah, like I said, when games start getting bans, you know it's good. Uh Especially horror games. Okay, so there's this good lord. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna have to adjust this again. Hold on. Okay. Did you hear about this side?
Which,
Helldivers 2 was a psyop. CEO says game manipulates players into being fascists. United Nations asked them to give a talk. Quote, if you start wearing the same uniform as everybody else and do salutes constantly, you might be in a totalitarian regime. Good riddance, Helldivers. You and your toxic community managers were the real fascists all along. And was it this was from Grums?
definitely,
Uh
definitely agree with that. So with the whole their community managers were ridiculously messed up. Like, just genuinely, their um their community managers were god awful. Uh, I would have fired every single one of them almost immediately. Like, they were so combative, they were so rude, they were so arrogant, they were so like, they took pleasure in being just kind of awful in a lot of ways. And it's like, when you're dealing with somebody like that, it's like GTFO. Like get them out as quickly as possible. They cannot be there. They're causing massive problems. So yeah, I would say unequivocally that this was a bad decision to have people like that in there, because they made this stuff like kind of like, get kind of crazy. And when you think about it, it's so silly, because it's like they're just like people wanting to play games and have fun. But some people can't just let that happen. You have to like control, you have to like go, oh no, this looks a little too fascist. So therefore we have to like counterbalance it with like, accusing people of being fascists and then kicking them out of the game. Like, are you mental? Like, are you absolutely mental? Of course, there's dumb people on the internet. There's always dumb people on the internet. The internet is full of dumb people constantly. What are you thinking? Of course, there are going to be dumb crazies out there doing stupid things. Like, God Lord.
Okay,
Yeah, so yeah, that's a thing.
I know people are like, "Oh, it's just a game." No, it's important. Well, I would like to say that Helldivers 2 is just a game in the fact that it is satirical commentary,
Mhm.
especially when it's blatantly based off of Starship Troopers, which is also satirical commentary against the military complex and capitalism. Like, it's literally all just like,
I would say a little bit. Like, obviously, I think that was the intent of the
because
some of the
it was
people
like,
that are involved.
it was making fun of, like, was it like governance that was it governance that prioritized military control strength, like that was because, like, if you watch Starship Troopers, like colonels and generals were like literally like in a council that rules the government. Like, it was it was I don't I'm not very versed in all the different types of governance out there. I can't exactly say what totalitarianism is. I know what communism and was it communism and socialism is. I don't Everyone keeps using the terms interchangeably, so I can't tell you like exactly what a
Yeah,
fascist is, and I can't
yeah.
totalitarianism. I don't know what the difference is between communism and those. Maybe they're the same thing, they're just different words. I don't know. All I can say is that it's just making a commentary of prioritizing military was it the war machine as a function of society. That's what Starship Troopers was saying. That's what was it that's what Helldivers 2's was saying. Now, it says the United Nations asked Helldivers 2 studio Arrowhead if it'd take give a talk on psychological manipulation. Quote, could we brainwash an entire community to fight for a fascist state? Would we be okay with that? Turns out, yeah. And then like at the like the sub of the article says, players' eagerness in the fight for Super Earth begs the question, are we the baddies? We know we're the baddies. It's a game. We know. We know it's satirical commentary of in I wouldn't say industrial complex. The military machine complex, whatever you call it.
If you're exterminating insects that are trying to exterminate humanity, you're not fascist for doing that. For doing that, you are not independently fascist. If you do fascist things like, get together and burn a bunch of books and then, excise or exterminate entire people groups based off of their ethnicity, it's like, then you might be fascist or communist, because both of those did those in spades. So,
Actually, wouldn't it?
that might be
Isn't
a
it?
problem. But if you're defending yourself from bugs who are trying to consume, like locusts, it's like, no, sorry, there is absolutely, yeah, we could exterminate all the bugs and this would be a good thing. So no,
And
go
some
away.
people, there's a lot of theories about that. Was it the military in Helldivers 2 created the bot menace, and I think there was also
So
commentary that maybe they also were involved in the creation of the bugs, and they're like, oh, these
there
experiments have
is,
gotten out of hands. Let's
yeah,
make it a spectacle. But
there
that's a
is
theory.
there is that theory, and one might say that what's going on there is that's a that's the bots are like trying to do, because people always talk of like, oh, we discovered this thing, and it's like, well, no, that's not, that's counter propaganda. Like, this there's always going to be propaganda, but then there's always going to be counter propaganda if you're fighting an intelligent force. So of course the intelligent force is going to try to convince you, hey, we're innocent here, and you guys are actually the bad guys, because if you start to fight them on that, then that makes them, that's going to make them more than happy to, like, keep doing that, because you're going to be the one, you know, if you give into that in any way, shape, or form, you're going to be carrying that problem forward. Does that make sense?
I mean, sorry, I was trying to read the article and trying to understand what exactly how this even came about.
I think somebody in the United Nations was like, "Hey, this is a good idea to, like, get, like, feedback and discussions and stuff off of this." I'm pretty sure that, because that's what bureaucracy does.
So they saw a game that people didn't take seriously, and they're like, hey guys, let's actually try to implement it. What if we actually, this just reminds me of like how Jurassic Park came out, and then later, a couple years later, scientists are experimenting with dinosaur genes. That's what this feels like. It feels like they see stuff happening as a cautionary tale, and they're like, hey, let's do that thing. And it's like, what makes you think that that's a good idea? Like, we ask ourselves, could we brainwash an entire community to fight for a fascist state? Would they? Would we be okay with that? It turns out, yeah, actually. I mean, if it wasn't with malicious intent, but it feels like actually we got a message from the UN asking if we want to talk in some form about psychological defense against manipulation. Psychological defense against manipulation. See, I don't trust that. I don't trust that they said that. They're like, oh, it's to defend against manipulation. But in actuality, they're like, what can we do to like make it so that they cannot protect themselves against manipulation? That's what that feels like. That's what it's trying to say. Read between the lines. This might all sound like the game is getting a little too real, but he said the key was in finding the right tone and using the imagery in an almost educational way. If you were a teacher and you were kind of teaching this in school, but when it's the UN, I don't really I don't know. I question that. We do it do wait, what does it say? We do it all in fun and good spirits, and we actually try to get people to recognize the science of what is a totalitarian state. If you start wearing the same uniform as everybody else and do salutes constantly, you might be in a totalitarian regime. Well, I don't know. They're saying it in an educational manner, but I don't trust that it is in an educational manner. They're like, we just want people to know what we know. We have history lessons. Oh my god. Like, don't get me wrong, you can use like different mediums to showcase in the classroom like the different examples in a historical setting and in a fictional setting on like what this is. But I don't know, the way that the UN, United Nations, want to pick your brains about the psychological manipulation going on in Helldivers 2, that's a little sus to me. Just a little sus, but that's my opinion. Little not so good. Uh, do you have any opinions on it, Saib?
So what?
Do you have any opinions?
A
I,
lot, but I don't. Eh, I don't think this is as big as what some people think it is. Some people are like screaming, "Oh my goodness, they've infected, the games industry." It's like, no, the games industry isn't controlled by governments, except for like Blizzard and a couple other companies that are run essentially by the CIA. But that's allegedly, and it's different now. They have new leadership, so it's it's maybe it's not Microsoft anymore pulling the strings. Maybe the CIA is not doing that anymore. Maybe that all got cut when all that other funding got cut. Um, and I'm That's very tongue in cheek about a popular video that came out about World of Warcraft a few years ago. But yeah, no, it's this idea. It's like is government involved? In a lot of ways, government's too stupid to get involved because they're all run by these really old people who don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're talking about. So that's sort of kind of what's happening there. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't think government has the ability to quite do this on this level because not that they don't try. I think that they do try. I just don't think it's as efficient. I think literally somebody just watched that "Are We the Baddies" skit from the BBC that was done 35 years ago. Somebody just watched that in government or had their grandkids show them it, and then they're like, "Oh my, is there anything other that's cool?" And they're like, "Yeah, check out this video game I've been playing. It's called Helldivers 2." And then they go, "Oh, that's amazing. Oh my goodness, are those things connected?" And then they like show up and they're like, "I've got an idea that the video games are teaching people how to be fascist." It's like, yeah, yeah, that's probably what's going on there.
Oh.
I don't think they're smart enough to do this. I really genuinely don't.
I don't know. It feels like they're taking notes to me, but that's just a theory, a Reaver theory. But that's just me.
Uh-huh.
I'm a conspiracy nut. But on to more, better topics. Apparently BG3 is on was it Steam's top selling games for 2 years in a row. Yay! Congratulations, BG3. Congratulations, Larian Studios. And congratulations, Ben. Like, has it already been 2 years? Good lord.
Getting
Time's
there,
fl-
yeah. I mean, yeah. We're over 2 years now officially.
yeah, it's crazy. Like, Baldur's Gate 3, like, usually when a game releases, usually its popularity starts petering out, like, over time. But it has maintained in the top 10 Steam sales, like the top 10, was it games sold on Steam for 2 years. And I'm not talking about, like, was it like the top five. It's not even like lower 10. It's like literally the top five. And I think that's pretty amazing. I think that's pretty great, especially for a single player game that everyone was saying that, oh, no one likes single player games anymore. And a CRPG at that, a CRPG, which I like, apparently CRPGs aren't really that well, uh, that well played. Like, not a lot of people play CRPGs. So I think that's really freaking great. Good job. They deserve that. They deserve that type of win. Now, let's get back to the not good stuff. Naughty Dog, Neil Druckman recently came out about the negativity or the criticism, as it were, about The Last of Us Part 2 and the backlash for Galaxy Prophet. That, what's it called? Galactus Lost Prophet.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
game.
yeah. The one that looks so bad that I really don't think I really don't think it's going to see the light of day. I mean, it could, but man, you'd have to have some absolute
He literally
stupid levels of insanity to try and get that past. Like that's just ugh.
Neil. Ooh, Neil. God, you are so. Oh, Neil. He said, "Who gives a shit? Who gives a flying fork about what people think?" And I'm like, oh, Neil. as a woman, as you like to say you're a feminist, as a woman, I have more say over you. You seriously need to stop making games. Like, for real. Your games suck. You're a horrible writer. You have an ego that makes you say you're a great writer, but you're not. You're literally a horrible writer. And you're just deluding yourself into thinking that you are a good writer. And literally, the reason why your other previous successes were successes is because of other people's hard work and not your own. Your name was attached to it, but you were not you were not the brains behind those games. You were involved, but you were not the main person who made it. I'm just mad that he pushed out, allegedly, he pushed out Amy Hennig. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
I keep
Mm-hmm.
getting her last
Mm-hmm.
name wrong. Pushed out Amy Hennig, and then the other dude who was also keeping a track of Neil Druckman's horrible work, he ended up leaving as well, which wouldn't surprise me if something kind of maybe gave him the suggestion to leave forcefully, allegedly. There's nothing to say that, but it wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised if he was maybe kind of pushed out. I mean, there's no reports of that, but it could have happened because Amy Hennig also left kind of forcefully, ousted by Neil Druckmann, who claims who claims that he's for the women and that women need to be, in gaming spaces, and then he pushes one of the most like creative women in gaming. Like, where's where's your
You
where's it
notice
end?
you notice that he doesn't even really have like a forward facing like woman in the company that's like, that's always like, talking and being out there and taking, it's always him. It's always him. It's always just him. He's vile. I don't like him.
I don't like him either. Like, he's so full of himself to like, and like he's just. I feel like he's just toxic. He's like a toxic person, and I don't like him.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Hi, lazy clay gamer, welcome in. Uh, it's been pretty good actually. I mean, I went on to a huge rant about Assassin's Creed Shadows, but and I have a headache now from ranting so much about Assassin's Creed Shadows. But other than that, it's actually been a pretty good weekend for me personally, at least. But did you have a good weekend, Sype?
They're getting better. It's also getting busier, so I know that in a few weeks I'll probably be working like, I mean, I already work like essentially 7 days a week, but that's on other stuff. Like day job will end up taking over, like, that'll end up being 5 6 days a week from time to time for sure, like guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like it's almost always 5 days a week as is. But yeah, it's probably gonna get worse. But that's a good thing. I mean, I like work. That's why I work. Like this is legitimately why I do that. So yeah, no, it's gonna be really interesting over the next couple of weeks. I think it's gonna be really I think it's gonna be really special.
I think it's kind of funny because you're like, oh, it's getting busier for me. And I was like, well, funnily enough, we're actually running out of work right now.
Hmm.
So it's like, I don't, which surprised me because we're like in the middle of the first quarter of the year and we're already running out of work. And I was like, what? Really? And yeah, so we're helping other departments right now. So I don't know. It just surprised me. We're like we're not even uh we haven't reached the end period yet, and we're already running out. And I was like, it just surprised me. I wasn't We're actually still pretty early, so I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, apparently we are. But yeah, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. In other words, Assassin's Creed Shadows is another disappointment. Yep, it's another disappointment. I don't think it's
Major
gonna
disappointment.
I don't think it's gonna reach the sales it needs to make back whatever how much it made to. Everyone's saying that it just needs to make 10 million back, but I'm like, I don't even know if it's even gonna reach that. and it costs like 250 million to make, and I'm like, why do you, I'm still confused about that. Like, if it's made, if it was 250 million to make, why does it only need to accumulate 10 million? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm like,
10
what?
million what? Like
10 million, like, money.
no, not 10 million money, 10 million sales. So it's 10 million times like $50.
Oh, I got so confused.
Welcome to doing math.
I was never good at math. Was it
Uh,
10 million? Okay, 10 million times
50.
72. Oh, it's just 72 million. Okay. 720 million, which is a little bit almost getting shy of a billion. Fat chance that's ever gonna
Yeah, but
happen.
you got to remember you got to deduct anywhere between uh 20 to 30% off of the top of that because
Oh, I'm not good with
that goes to the
percentages.
platforms.
Don't make me do percentages. I
So
suck at that.
so you take that off, you take off the sales tax, the other stuff like that. So they're not making $70, $79 or $72 off the sale of every single game. They're making like maybe 45.
Oh, damn lazy. Like,
So
I played Odyssey and Valhalla, and then, like, was it the Ezio, oh, not the trilogy, the Assassin's Creed 2, because Assassin's Creed 1 was a different character, but Assassin's Creed 2 was the start of the Ezio trilogy, apparently. The Ezio saga. But I played Assassin's Creed 2, I played Odyssey, and I played Valhalla. I didn't finish either of those games, to be honest, but you can definitely tell the difference uh, between those games. I'm just saying. But I think lazy, you definitely dodged a bullet by not playing. Or, well, I heard Origins was pretty good. Mirage, I don't think Mirage is good personally from what I saw, but I wouldn't be surprised if some people said it was good. Uh, but I'm just saying. But I did hear that Assassin's Creed Rogue was actually really good. I actually want to play that game. Uh, but yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked because they were talking about the series, and I'm like, I really do like the Assassin's Creed series. Like, it is a good series. It's just sad to see how far it's fallen.
mm-hmm.
I still want to give each Assassin's Creed game that I mentioned the benefit of the doubt, but honestly, I'm not going in with high expectations, much less the best games of all time. I mean that, yeah, I mean that's fair. Nah, that's fair. Wait, what were we talking about? Were we talking about Naughty Dog?
Yeah. Finishing up on the Naughty Dog thing.
Oh, right.
I my everybody knows how I feel about him. I think Mr. Duckman is not a very good person. So yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
moving on.
I don't like him either. And I think he's missing the point when he's just saying that he doesn't give a crud about the criticisms. And that's what's going to even tank Naughty Dog's reputation even more. And any project going forward from Neil Druckmann beyond Galaxy Quest to Electric Boogaloo, anything beyond this is just gonna go even down further down the drain. He thinks that he sells masterpieces. It's not even gonna break even. I don't think Galactus is gonna break even. Last Profit, I don't think it's gonna break even. I don't think it's like gonna barely hit maybe a million, maybe. I don't even know if it's even gonna sell a million, to be perfectly honest. I don't see how anyone, a million people, would want to buy this game and play it. I don't see how that's feasible. I don't think it's even gonna reach a million personally. And yeah, any project beyond the last profit is going to be even lower than what low expectations I have for this game. It's going to be even lower going forward, is what my prediction is, because Neil Druckman doesn't strike me as a man who takes criticism well and like
No, he
retains
most
it
certainly does not.
and like changes as a person. He doesn't seem like the type of person to change. So, and he seems pretty stubborn about doing things his way, and everyone else is wrong, and he's always right because he's the leader of Naughty Dog. And yeah, so that's my take. That's my predictions. Let's see if my psychic abilities prove to be right. According to Ubisoft, they said Assassin's Creed Shadows has 2 million players engaged with the game. They didn't say 2 million copies sold. Dude, you're like the second person to say that. 2 million copies sold, which I find interesting. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, so there's been a trend recently when it comes to gaming companies. They like to do wordplay to make things better than they actually are. We kind of already discussed it, but basically they're trying to make it, like I said, they're just trying to make it seem like, oh, if 2 million players are playing it, that means we sold 2 million copies. But then you also need to remember that, like, there's Xbox with Game Pass, and usually they like to do, games for free on Game Pass day one sometimes. So it's like, I don't think they even sold that many copies. Plus, who's to say that the majority of people playing Assassin's Creed right now is on Game Pass? They haven't released numbers yet, but it is a theory that what are the odds that most of the people currently playing Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed Shadows is on Game Pass, which means they're playing it for free. They didn't even freaking buy the game. They're just playing it for free.
Right.
Like, that's why they say 2 million players, because most of it's on Game Pass and they didn't even buy the game. And so it's like,
and they're not getting a premium from Game Pass. Like they're definitely not. But they're wanting to say that to hype it up so that they can, pass it off as a success.
And do you know what, I know you already know, Saib, because we already went over this, but for the new people who just joined, do you know what the highest concurrent players of Assassin's Creed Shadows is on Steam currently? Well, currently it's 30,000, but day one, the highest was 60,000. 60,000 players on Steam. 60,000. It didn't even reach 100,000 on Steam. Concurrent players, the highest was 60,000? Maybe 70,000? That's not a lot. That's not a lot. Especially when freaking, Baldur's Gate 3 came out. And it sold, and it had millions, like the highest concurrent players was like 2 million. That's crazy. Concurrent players. And then you have dinky little Assassin's Creed Shadows. 60 to 70,000 concurrent players is your highest number, is the highest you can get to play on Steam. That's crazy. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep trying to make it seem like it's a win, but it's really not. I don't see how they can make it out from this. We're kind of just going around in circles at this point. But yeah, I don't see how they're going to make it out from this. They've been bleeding money.
They're in trouble.
They're going to get sued, or their shareholders are threatening to sue for, false advertising. Obviously, Ubisoft has promised them returns that shareholders are not getting, so they are suing. And I'm not saying that this is Shadows is just this is the only incident. They have been doing this for years. They kept promising and promising and promising and promising for years to shareholders that things were going to get better. Things were going to get better. Gamers are buying. Gamers are buying. Don't worry about it. It's fine. People say things. They're just haters. Don't listen to the backlash. No, 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 no. They are losing. Do you know what their stocks are right now? I forgot to mention that. Do you know what Ubisoft stocks are right now? They went from $20 a couple years ago.
It was like a 95% drop.
They're
They
$2.
they were way north of $20. Like
They're like
if you go back to their highest point, they were almost $100 a share, or over $100 a share.
they're at
I think.
they're at $2 right now, or at least
Yeah,
the last time I
why
checked.
I am convinced that this has been a ploy from the C-suite at Ubisoft to tank their stock so that it makes it easier for them to buy it back. I am 100%. I bet you they got to the highest point. They sold a whole bunch of their stock, and they made millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. And then they're like, all
Like
right, tank the company, tank the company. They'll take it all the way down till it's worth pennies on the stock. It's not $2. It's a penny stock. It's 2 pennies per stock. And then they'll announce we're buying back all of our stock at a premium of $1 a stock. And so all of the people are like, well, I can't get any lower, so I guess I might as well sell it now. Then they sell it now, and then they come in and they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, we're going back to like all the things that everybody loves about our old games. And everybody starts having a heart attack going, really, you're honestly going to do that? You're not going to be stupid or crazy anymore? And they're like, no, trust us, we've got you. And then they
you
go and they do
can't
their
do
thing.
that and not have people like grumble about it.
Well,
Like
that's why they're being sued right now, because that is what the stockholders are now convinced has been going on.
you can't do you can't do
Oh,
this like
they can.
insider trading BSery and like
They
think your reputation's going to be freaking sterling by the end of it, especially with your
they
customer
they
base.
they don't care. They're going to make bank off of this deal, even if they like. You got to understand, these guys were running their company like it was a personal, like, little miniature, like, that game series where you play the authoritarian guy in control of an island nation. It's like that. They were playing it like they have been living in that world this whole time.
Sorry, Lazy. I got a little confused when you said of Assassin's Creed. Like, what are my thoughts on Assassin's Creed Shadows? Like, or them saying like 2 million copies sold. Or sorry, 2 million players sold instead of 2 million copies. We kind of already went over that. I said that they're just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
doing wordplay to make it.
Not even that long ago. You can back
Yeah,
it up.
yeah. Like
But
it's just wordplay. Companies have been doing it like a new tactic that they've been doing. They're just like making it sound better than it actually is. Actually, they've been doing it for a couple of years now. Never mind. But it's not. It's like recent, but not recent. It's like the last couple of years they've been doing it. But it's just, yeah. It's just I hope this is like I've said this before, but I hope that's what they're doing because it is ridiculous how far this has gotten, and I really hope that is exactly what they're doing. And I'm starting to believe your theory now, Sai, because it is getting so bad. I hate that it's gotten to the point where companies get so big that making money is more important than making video
art.
games, to the
Yeah.
point that they actively sabotage making games and making IPs. They actively sabotage it just to make bank. And that disgusts me so much. And you're right, it does ruin the art of it. It's just deplorable and I hate it. I'm aware that laws are different in certain countries, but what Ubisoft is doing right now is illegal, even in France, right? Oh, is this illegal? I would assume
Um,
I would assume so. I mean, I don't know. A lot of companies get away with shit like in trading. While the term insider trading is often associated with illegal activity, it's not entirely illegal. Insider trading is legal when corporate insiders trade company stock without exploiting confidential material information, provided they report their trades to the SEC. I think what they're doing is allegedly maybe kind of illegal, honestly, in my opinion. From this definition of what is considered legal or not illegal, I think maybe this might be slightly illegal, a little bit. But I don't know that. I'm not into stocks. I don't know what, I'm not what, and like you said, it's different in every country. I don't know what it is in Canada. I don't know what it's in France. I don't know what it is in America, to be perfectly honest. I'm not a big stock person, so it sounds like how is it legal for a person who owns a company purposely tanking their stocks in order to make money off of it? That doesn't sound legal to me.
It's definitely like one of those things that is not good.
Yeah, I don't see how that's, legal, but I'm, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a stock person, so I don't know, but it doesn't sound legal. And then you know what they say, when it doesn't sound legal, it's probably not legal. It's probably, I don't know. It could be legal. It could be legal. I don't know how it could be legal. I don't know. Wait a second. No, I don't think it is. But I don't want to get in trouble with Ubisoft. I mean, they're already going to come after us for criticizing their games, so I don't want to also be, saying that they're doing illegal stuff when they're not doing illegal stuff. So I don't know. I don't take my word on it when it comes to stocks. I don't know things. Don't hurt me, Ubisoft. At least in this context, don't hurt me. But Assassin's Creed Shadow sucks. You need to stop making video games. Come at me. I'm not scared of you. No one likes you anyways. Yeah, I'm just burying myself even deeper. But anyways, you got anything else to add, Sab? I think that's it so far.
Yeah, yeah, with that, it's like, yeah, no, we're good.
Okay.
I cannot wait to finally be over this stupid story and all these stupid players. And I know it's gonna go on for ages still, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just this has this has been the most watched downfall of Ubisoft. Oh, not of Ubisoft. This is what I feel like this is the most controversial game to come out besides Cyberpunk 2077. I feel like this is pretty freaking controversial. Like with the horrible management, with the disrespectful representation of Japan, to altering history to say that this is fact when it's not, to have Yasuke bang a historical figure who was known for her fidelity and faithfulness to her husband. Like, you have a lot of freaking cojones. Oh my god, you have a cojones to even put that in the game. Good lord. Like, it's just
It's
the
because
disrespect,
it's a weird self-insert. It's a really weird self-insert when people make games and they claim to be like very like any kind of art. They're claiming, oh, look at me, I'm so pious, I'm so wonderful, I'm such a good person. People really should just bow down to me because I'm just, when you think about it, I'm like the greatest person around, right? Like if we only could just agree on that. Like, literally, I've seen people do this. It's disgusting. Um, and they go like full on all out into this, like, oh yeah, if people just listen, and then they self-insert themselves in some of the most like grotesque, terrible ways. It's like, yeah, I don't think this is good. I'm not I'm
Yeah.
I think they're gonna rue the day.
Yeah, and also not only are the shareholders thinking of suing uh Ubisoft, Japan is looking to do legal
Ban
action.
them. Yeah.
Uh is going through they're going to go through the game, I feel like, and take notes of what they're doing, cuz like I said, they Ghost of Tsushima was heralded as like the most proper representation of Japanese, at least, historical Japanese culture.
Hmm.
And then you come out, and then Ubisoft said bet and lost the bet. Like they said, they're like, hold my beer, and then they freaking failed. Like, Japan, you can't do these things, bro. Like, you can't do this. You can't do these things. You can't just take a country and do historical stuff with their. You can't make a game based off of historical accuracy of a foreign country, and you get every little thing wrong. You get, okay, not just every little thing, every big thing too. You get just everything wrong about the culture and the history period and the historical figures, and you get everything wrong. It's like, you can't do that. You can't do, and you're
Hmm.
just gonna let, like, there's such thing as country pride, and I'm very well aware of that. American here, but anyways, but like country pride is a thing, especially with other foreign countries as well. Shocker, people are actually proud to live in their country, and being citizens of those countries sometimes. Like, it's a foreign concept, I know, but like, some people are proud of where they came from, and you blatantly don't even do the research for the
The basic stuff. Yeah.
why did you think that was a good idea? Did you think that you could just get away with it? No. Do you honestly think we're that stupid? I don't think they actually think we're. I don't know. It just feels like they did this stuff on purpose, because like, there's no way. There's no way you thought this was a good idea. There's no way you thought you could get away with this. It feels like they did this on purpose to do some backroom deal because of money. Because of money. And if that's the reason, that just pisses me off even more, because they mess with Japan. I love Japan. I'm a big fan of Japan. I like them. They're cool. And then you go after Japan, bro. You go after Japan, and you think you're not gonna get roasted by the gaming community for going after Japan? Half of the gaming community are weebs, right? People who love Japanese anime and culture. Like, I'm just saying, you have a lot of balls. You have a lot of balls to do this. I'm just saying. I'm not against the idea of playing as Yasuke in an Assassin's Creed game, but the way Ubisoft handled, especially compared to Ghost of Tsushima, it just got awful. Yeah.
Complete stupidity
Yeah, I agree with
on
you too.
so many levels.
I was gonna give it a chance, dude. Not gonna lie. I was going to give it a chance. But then they start saying how much it was historically inaccurate, how much they didn't even do basic research, how they just melded different Asian cultures into a Japanese story. They just
Because
put
they're racist. They don't even know the beginning of, like, they genuinely do not understand how that works. Like, they genuinely don't get it. They really don't. They don't understand how, other cultures work. They're flat out lying, like they really are, a bunch
gaslighting.
of times, and gaslighting people, and they're just like,
We
oh yeah,
never
we
said
know what we're
Yasuke.
doing.
We never said
Yeah,
Yasuke was a samurai. We were just saying we were taking liberties with the story. No, when you were first marketing the game, you said Yasuke's a samurai. Yasuke is the first black samurai, as if it was fact, when historically it was never really stated in Japanese history if he was a samurai. It's only even speculated at, like, it's speculated. It's not even properly written in history. We don't know a lot about Yasuke. They had potential. Oh god, that's the one thing I cannot stand with some of this stuff. They had potential to make a good game. They had potential to make it beautiful. I mean, it is a beautiful game. The graphics are amazing. The one good thing about Shadows is it's a gorgeous game. But they had a potential to tell a good story, and I have heard that Naoe's story is cohesive. Yasuke's story is very afterthoughty. Like like they didn't put a lot of, like, Yasuke being there doesn't really make that much sense. Especially when you find out Yasuke burned down Naoe's village. Spoilers. You find out Yasuke burned down Naoe's village, and then they just start working together. Like, that isn't okay. Like, there's not going to be a hang up about that.
It's
no.
Video game logic.
Like, killed your father is fine.
That's just the way that it's supposed to be.
I was raised with these people. Don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. God. Yeah, it's just, they had potential to tell a really good they could have made a Ghost of Tsushima. They could have. They could have made the next Ghost of Tsushima. But they were just following trends. Let's be honest. They're just following trends. They just did the minimalist efforts. Literally everything they put in this game was Google searches. It was legit, literally Assassin's Creed Shadow Google search. That's it. That's what it is. Like, some of the stuff that happens in, like, you do not understand how historically inaccurate Shadows is. It's, like, not even funny. Like, yeah, Valhalla had, like, you're riding a giant dire wolf, and, like, you fight the Norse gods. In Odyssey, you fight you fight Medusa and mythological creatures in Odyssey. I can understand. You know, that stuff was fun. That was fun to do. You're fighting gods. You're fighting mythological creatures. That's fun. I can understand, but those weren't historical inaccuracies. That was just, like, yeah, you're taking liberties with with reality, what's real, what's not real. Were mythological creatures real back in those, in Greece times, ancient Greece times? No, but, you know, it's fun to mess with, you know, with was it the lore of Assassin's Creed. So, like, maybe Medusa was real. Maybe Atlantis was real. Maybe this was actual real things.
I wish they'd focus on that aspect, especially with, like, I mean, obviously they didn't know about the news of it, but, like, this news about, like, this crazy amount of, like, stuff that they've detected under the Great Pyramids. It's like, it would be so, and I really wish Civilization would do this too. I wish they put out a game mode where all of the ancient alien stuff is totally true. Like, that would be so cool to play this, like, fictionalized sci-fi, like, that would be so cool. And who knows, maybe they'll finally get around to it. I don't know, but that's my big complaint about them, is that they never do anything fun.
Actually, I mean, they do some things fun. It's just, when it comes to historical inaccuracies, I think people are misunderstanding what historical accuracies we're talking about here. We're not talking about, oh, Washington punched Benjamin Franklin and took over and tried to take over the world. We're not talking about those inaccuracies. We're talking about basic cultural inaccuracies.
That sums up my experience when I play a normal round of Civilization. Yeah, that's totally normal.
Look, at least in those games, dude, back in the day, Ubisoft took out, like, was it a flintlock? Was it, no, a crossbow. They took out a crossbow in a certain Assassin's Creed game, I forgot which one it was. You had access to play a crossbow, to use a crossbow in one of the Assassin's Creed game, but everyone pointed out how historically inaccurate it would be for them to have a crossbow, so they took it out because they respected the historical accuracy. They can't even get the design of ancient Japanese underwear right. They can't even get the design right. They can't get tatami mats right. I'm sorry, I'm just beating a dead horse with that, but they can't do basic. The buildings are Chinese in structure, dude. The buildings are in Chinese in structure. They're selling rice during the season that rice isn't even harvested. Like they have cherry blossoms in the same season as rice when they are on 2 different seasons.
Because again, they don't know anything. They never did any basic research at all. But yeah.
Like
I cannot wait. I hope
it's beyond historical inaccuracy. It's cultural inaccuracy. Like, it's so offensive. It is so offensive. Like, it's so disrespectful, dude. I can't. Maybe I'm just. Maybe I just like Japan too much, but I'm like, I can't stand that people can even say positive things about this game. Like, it really bothers me. Like, I love learning about history, and I love learning about Japan. And when you mess up this badly, I can't stand that people play this game and like think that this is actual history. I think I've said it before, but like you're telling people
it's an assault on history is what it is. And again, they're doing it because they're literally doing this intentionally, trying to build this up in their own minds that this is it's revisionist history. It's what it boils down to. Now, yes, this is a game. They're saying this is fictional history, but you don't hear that when you hear them talk about it. They're like, oh yes, he was such a wonderful figure in Japanese history. It's like, dude was barely there, like literally, like I don't think he's not as important as you think he is.
yeah.
And then they get offended when you say that, and they're like, harassment, and it's like, no, you're the ones who are harassing people. It's so dumb. And again, I don't understand why the fans are like trying to say, oh no, this is like, this is totally fine. This is great. This company is we love this company. This company doesn't love you. You are literally their meal ticket. They don't care. It's a giant corporation. They don't care about you. Why would you?
They just want your money.
Think they care about you? Like what? Like why? You really think they're oh yeah, they really care. Of course they do.
Oh, also,
idiots.
Okay, Lazy said if Assassin's Creed Shadows was like Avatar: The Last Airbender that mixes multiple Asian culture, this would be a different conversation, but that's not the case with Shadows.
Yeah, no, because
the difference
because they've gone out of their way to claim that this is the reality, right?
The thing is that the reason why Avatar: The Last Airbender was able to get away with it is because it's in a fictional setting where people can fling fire and water like with superpowers. It's a fantastical setting. It's not just fictional, it's fantastical. Like, yeah, they took inspiration from Asian culture, but it's like that's different because it's like its own fantasy world. Assassin's Creed Shadows is supposed to be somewhat historically accurate. Yeah, there's historical figures in it, but at that point I feel like that's it. They just have historical figures in it. I don't even know if the building structures aren't even accurate. The seasons aren't accurate. Like, they're it's not even Japanese, dude. It's like mostly Chinese, some Taiwanese, some Koreans in there. Like, it's not even It's not even Japanese, dude. Like, it's just, yeah. It just pisses me off. I don't see how Ubisoft can make it from this. I still don't. Like, even, I just feel like they're just gonna crash and burn. I don't know, maybe they'll weasel their way out of it somehow by selling to somebody, but let's just. I can say I'm exhausted, but I feel like there's gonna be even more controversy with Ubisoft because every time I think like maybe this is the week that we're not gonna learn anything from Ubisoft. Nope, more controversy, more controversy. The Ubisoft is always in the news because they can't catch a break, but it's not like they even need a break because they're terrible. Let's be honest here. But yeah, I think that's the end of it. Uh, dang it. I think my bro-in-law's home. But yeah, do you have any closing statements?
Uh, I cannot wait for this story to be behind us. I hope, I I legitimately hope that Ubisoft, um, what do I hope Ubisoft does? I kind of hope that they like just break apart, but I don't think that's not going to happen in my mind. I really doubt that that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is this stuff is going to keep getting worse, and then they're going to buy out all of the stock. They're going to do a forced like for sale of the stock. They're going to get into legal hot water, but then they're just going to drag it out, and then they're going to rebuild themselves and rebrand and be like, haha, no, we're here all this time, haha. It's like, mm, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think that's what's going to happen.
I guess I can. It's only my dark hope is that they're gonna crash and burn, but I guess that's just me. If Ubisoft were to sell the Assassin's Creed IP to another company, which corporation are you hoping would own the series? I don't. To be perfectly honest, I don't really trust any AAA company at this point because they're all just greedy a-holes
Hmm.
that care about profit and microtransactions. I would love to see Larry and Studio try to gain some IPs that will eventually go on sale. Because let's be honest here, I don't see AAA companies surviving anytime soon. I feel like there's going to be a huge gaming crash soon, and uh, AA companies are going to be left thriving. Let's be honest here, they'll thrive. They won't pick up the pieces. They'll just exist, and everyone will love them for it. And the AAA industry, I can't say the AAA industry will fade into obscurity. I don't think that's what it's going to do. I think it's going to evolve into something hopefully better. I feel like the corporate part of it will die out and go extinct. And I don't know, maybe it'll, I hope it's not going to be a cycle where we just rinse and repeat, but I'd like to see a return to form of gaming where art and storytelling reigned, you know? I could be wrong, but Ubisoft is too big and popular, good or bad reasons, company to go out of business. I don't know. I don't know. The stocks, they've been bleeding money for years, 5 years, billions of dollars. I don't know. I mean, the only way that they can probably save themselves is to sell IPs. I think that's the only feasible way. But even then, that still results in the dissolving of their company. I don't, unless they sell outright to Tencent. Tencent's been looking to buy them, maybe. So I don't know. Maybe Tencent will buy Ubisoft, but that's like, I don't know, a Hail Mary for Ubisoft. I think that's what Ubisoft wants, is maybe for Tencent to buy them. But I don't know. Either Tencent buys them or they end up selling off IPs. And then the company dissolves. That's the only way I can see it. I heard that Ubisoft is planning to split the company. I have heard that. So I don't know what that means for the company itself, but I heard that they're splitting it. So take that for what it is.
Yeah, I really don't think that that's going to happen. I genuinely don't think that's going to happen. That won't happen unless there's some kind of like big push by a big like government governing body that forces that on them, because there's too much control, there's too much money to be made. They might do some form of like split where they're like, okay, we're going to start letting other people make our games, and then we're going to take on like, we're just going to take a cut of those games. That we might see a little bit more of, but that's been the way the industry has been pushing for a while now. So yeah, I think that's kind of the direction that that goes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I think Ubisoft is going to be in the limelight for a while until it is definitive on what the future holds for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, this is like the biggest fall from grace besides Cyberpunk 2077 on first release. When Cyberpunk 2077 first released, it had major backlash, but I feel like Assassin's Creed Shadows is like up there.
Mm-hmm.
If they sell the Rayman, I hope Nintendo buys the series. Don't get me wrong, I don't trust Nintendo either, but when it comes to platform games, Nintendo is almost always at the top. Fair, yeah. I can totally see. I was actually surprised that Ubisoft owned Rayman, actually. I was like, what? They owned Rayman? I thought it was like Nintendo or uh, Konami or Bandai Namco who owned Rayman. Like, I thought it was like, was it, Japanese development studio that owned Rayman, but apparently not. I was like, oh. But yeah, it'd be. I wouldn't mind Nintendo owning Rayman. Uh, who would I like to see? I don't really know. Like I said, I don't really trust. Uh, I mean, Bandai Namco and Konami have been producing some good games. I don't know. I don't know. I can't really see any. What's the one? Rockstar? Who makes the Red Dead Redemption games?
Yeah, um
Rockstar?
that's Rockstar. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can see Rockstar making Assassin's Creed. I mean, they did pretty well with their Cowboy series. I think they do well with Assassin's Creed. I think. But they've been
Well,
also
the problem
focusing.
with them is that they can't get like, we've been waiting how many decades now for
Oh yeah, they like
GTA
really.
6.
Yeah, they drag their feet
Yeah.
when it comes to producing IPs. I don't know. This is why it's so hard. I feel like I don't
I
know. It's
I
just I don't
think
trust really anybody because they've been so focused on live service.
I don't think any studio in the world should be trusted with more than two IPs at any given time,
Yeah,
because otherwise it's just too much.
yeah,
And we see this with Bethesda. It's like Bethesda tried to do three, and I don't think it's working. I think they need to stick with Fallout and Elder Scrolls,
yeah.
and or increase the amount of other companies that are doing like side projects, like
I mean they
100%.
Yeah, I mean, also, company bloat has been a big topic of discussion lately because
Hmm.
people are like, well, because the company is so bloated, it thins out the vision of the game and it thins out the story because you have too many people like suggesting what to put in the game or too many people working on the game that it just gets bogged down. The game itself gets bogged down. I could see Konami buying the Splinter Cell series, especially if the franchise can easily cross over with Metal Gear Solid. Oh, that'd be cool. A lot of people have been asking for Splinter Cell. I've never played the games, but people are really excited, or they've been asking for a long time for Splinter Cell game. God, like I said, I can't really. I don't know. I don't really. Like I said, I'm just going around in circles. I don't really trust anybody, so it's like hard for me to. I mean, the only studios that I trust and that I like are like really new studios that are just getting their foot in the door to the industry. So they can't really. It's not that I don't trust them. I do trust them to make good games. It's just that I don't think Ubisoft would be willing to sell to a studio that hasn't made a name for itself yet, if that makes sense. And plus, I don't think they would have the funds to pay for an IP, which I feel like Ubisoft would just like sell out the butt, like at the highest bidder that they can for the games. And I don't think they would have, like, those smaller studios would have the money or the budget just yet to purchase those IPs. So, which is a little disappointing because, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they would make great games if they had control of those IPs, but sadly, like I said, they're just small indie studios right now, and they haven't really made a name for themselves yet. But the reason why I trust them so much is because they're backed by like OG BioWare devs, OG like, what is it? OG Witcher 3 devs, like the original people who made Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are actual storytellers trying to make their own companies and trying to like, get a step in the right direction. And I want to support them. But like I said, they haven't really proved themselves yet. They haven't released anything yet. But I'm excited. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited for Exodus. I don't know. You guys should definitely follow Archetype Entertainment YouTube channel. They've been producing lore.
We hope, because we know that somebody got promoted to
She's in Skeleton. She's in Skeleton Game. I don't think they're
which is doing support work on this game. I don't know.
No, stop. And then not only that, apparently Skeleton Key is allegedly working on Baldur's Gate 4. And
yeah, allegedly.
Oh God,
I think
a
lot of that stuff has been. I think some of that stuff has been definitely overblown. I do think so. Like, yeah.
I don't know, dude. Like, oh God, I really hope
we should end it because I really have to go to the bathroom. Or you keep talking for a little bit.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, out of the big three, Nintendo is arguably the lesser evil out of the three because Microsoft and Sony have way more controversies. Oh God, yep. But yeah, we can only hope things can get better. I'd like to remind people that things will get better. It just takes time. Calm before the storm and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys. I think that's everything. Thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you're at. I stream on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. You can keep a track of my streams on Twitter and what is going on in my life to keep up to date with like why I can't stream that day and stuff like that. Join my Discord if you want to chat with me. I stream mostly on the weekends, but sometimes I stream Thursday to Saturday on Twitch. Lady Reaver, okay. Everything's down below. But yeah, right now I'm not streaming next week. I'm taking like a small break from streaming, so I'm not streaming next week. But I'm still gonna be here on the Triple S League channel, but I'm taking a little break from Twitch. But yeah, I should come back. I should have put a date on my Twitter post or X post, whichever you want to call it. I'm gonna be back on the 3rd or 4th of April, I guess. I don't know. Around that time. But yeah, right now I'm not streaming, but I do stream on Twitch. But yeah. Anything you want to plug in, Sab?
Stay tuned. We're going to be getting the first episode of the Authors Podcast up soon. Again, the first podcast will be up on this channel, and then it'll be kind of like there and kind of redirecting us to the new channel where we'll be doing all kinds of book stuff over the next and this is like a long-term thing. It's like we've got um, both Ash and I are working on books. I have another friend of the channel working on another series, or potentially, uh, yeah, potentially like another series. It's in the same universe as the universe that I'm writing in. Ash has two different book projects ongoing. I have written about 8 books in my series, and we're just getting around to the first one being released. And you'll go, oh my goodness, why 8? And are they really small books? No, they're really big books. So we did the official count. We're just under 300,000 words for the first book. This is before we do the finalized edits, and we're definitely going to be adding in a couple of like a little bit more content into that one. So it'll be over, probably will end up being over 300,000 words. And we've had a whole bunch of people test reading it, and a lot of people say that it doesn't feel like it's that big. It reads so fast, and you get so engrossed in it, and you move through it so quickly that it does not feel like it's a 300,000 word book. It feels like it's like half that size. But that's a good sign, because that means that you're kind of going through it. So we're going to have that, and I've written so many ahead so that there's not going to be I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be like a certain guy who's writing a certain series called Game of Thrones.
Mm.
Not going to be like him, where it's like, oh yeah, wait for got to wait 15 centuries for the last book. I'm not doing that. I'm being very, very direct, and I'm being very like strategic in the fact that we've gotten so much content down. We're planning it all out. We're double checking it. We're confirming that there aren't any major loopholes or plot holes or combat holes and all that kind of stuff. We're actually making sure that we're on point, and it's going to be great. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Gonna be
I,
awesome.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, check it out when we start to drop that content, and that'll be on the new channel. We will have lots and lots of info about it. If you follow us on any of the socials, you're going to see it up a lot. And then also check out Ash's Sinometry channel, because that's also been doing really, really well. His video hit the one that he did at the beginning of the year hit 500,000 views and is kind of taking off. So yeah, it's
Nice.
great stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, also I forgot to say, I post on my YouTube channel, I post new streaming VODs every Wednesday. So yeah, you like I'm thinking about posting my VODs a lot more sooner, like at least twice a week. But yeah, I was thinking about it. I haven't done it yet, but yeah, I post every Wednesday. So look forward to that. All right. Thank you. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you guys have a good day or night wherever you're at. And we'll
Me
see
too.
you next time. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.